Shalom, and welcome to Walking the Walk, a linguistic analysis of the terms in Psalm 119. Today we begin part 7, which is translated the word judgments. The Colonel says you can't understand Hebrew unless you know what it says. Hebrew is constructed in such a way that words with similar letters have related meanings. By examining the related roots of each word, we come to a better understanding of what Hebrew words mean. The word which is translated judgment, ordinance, custom, whatever is right according to law, is Mishpat in the singular and Mishpatim in the plural. There is a parsha which is called Mishpatim, and it appears in Exodus 21:1 through 24:18. And this parsha covers the laws governing Hebrew servants, personal injuries, the Shabbat laws, the festival laws, the 3 annual festivals of Yahweh where the men were required to go up to Jerusalem. It covers the laws that protect a person's property, any kind of thing related to social responsibility, laws of justice and mercy. So putting things, having a governmental form to help people know how to deal with each other, what is right in the sight of Yahweh, these are the Mishpatim. And you can see where this word is used, the verses that it's used in Psalm 119. Genesis 18:19, for I know him, that is, he's talking about Abraham, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yahweh to do justice and judgment, that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. In Genesis 18:25, that be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do what is right, what is an orderly manner, how to deal between people? Another use for Mishpat, Genesis 40:13. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto thy place, and thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand after the former manner when thou wast his butler. And so Joseph is explaining the dream, and previously the butler was serving the wine to the Pharaoh, and this was the custom of what he was doing. This was the relationship between him and Pharaoh. That was the order of their relationship. In Exodus 26:30, and thou shalt rear up the tabernacle according to the fashion thereof, which was showed thee in the mount. Yahweh talking to Moses about the tabernacle. It's a judgment. Shows us some things about relationships between people, which is built into the tabernacle, which is a whole other study. Again in Exodus 28:29, and Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goeth in unto the holy place, for memorial before Yahweh continually. Jeremiah 22:13. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong. So this is a custom, but it's an incorrect kind of judgment. It's when we have a bad judgment. That uses his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work. These are things that are wrong way to act in between people. Jeremiah 46:28. Fear thou not, O Jacob my servant, saith Yahweh, for I am with thee, for I will make a full end of all the nations whither I have driven thee. But I will not make a full end of thee, but correct thee in measure. Yet will I not leave thee wholly unpunished. So the people have sinned in Yahweh's sight. He's not going to wipe them out altogether. He's always going to leave a remnant. But the people will be corrected by a judgment of what is right. How should they be in relationship with each other and with their God? Micah 6:8. He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth Yahweh require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. We don't have to guess about the correct way to walk in this world. We need to walk by the Mishpatim, what is just and what is God's judgment of how relationships should be. The word mishpat comes from a root shofet, which means judge, as either a verb or a noun, to plead or defend a cause. We have a whole book, the book of Judges, which is named Shoftim. Genesis 16:5. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be unto thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Yahweh judge between me and thee. So when there's a problem in relationship, we need to let Yahweh be the definer of the judgment. What is just? What is correct? Genesis 18:25. That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? We looked at this verse before. The shofet of all the earth needs to do what is mishpat, what is correct and what is just. Exodus 2:14. And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, Surely this thing is known. We care who the judge is over us, and if we want to choose a wise and just judge, then we choose Yahweh to be our judge. 1 Samuel 12:7. Now therefore stand still, that I may reason with you before Yahweh of all the righteous acts of Yahweh which he did to you and to your fathers. Samuel is trying to bring a justice and a judgment to the people. He's trying to explain to them his action. In 2 Samuel 18:31, And behold, Cushi came, and Cushi said, Tidings, my lord the king, for Yahweh hath avenged thee this day of all them that rose up against thee. The messenger is trying to explain to David that Yahweh has done this justice, in that all these people have been killed on that day. Psalm 82:3. Defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy. We need to make a right judgment for people that are poor, people that are orphans, and we need to defend them. That's the right thing to do. Ezekiel 20:35. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. So this is not some harsh, cruel judgment. We have no warning about it, but we see that Yahweh is willing to explain it to us, to plead with us, to show us the justice of what he's doing. We're going to look at some cognate roots for Shaphat, for the root Shaphat. One is Shevet, Shin Bet Tet. One is Shaphat, Shin Pei Tav. And the last one is Shabbat, which I'm sure you recognize. Shevet is a noun. It means a tribe. It comes from the root of the word for a staff or a rod. We know that the rod or the staff indicates the leadership of the tribe. Genesis 49:10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall be the gathering of the people. So we know that Judah carries the scepter. They are the tribe that is qualified to make the laws for the people. Genesis 49:28. All of these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is it, that their father spake unto them, and blessed them, every one according to his blessing he blessed them. So the same word is used for staff, rod, or here scepter, and it also means tribe, because the tribes are organized according to leadership. We see many cases in Tanakh of people appointing leadership. We need a leadership, we need a government, and we need a just and fair government according to the rules of Yahweh. Leviticus 27:32. And concerning the tithe of the herd, or of the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod, the 10th shall be holy unto Yahweh. So we imagine a literal flock of sheep or goats, and the shepherd is counting them, and he counts them as they pass under the rod. It's sort of a measuring stick, but it also shows his ownership, his leadership. His law is imposed upon the sheep. And you know that we are sheep in Ezekiel 20:37. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. We, as Yahweh's sheep, must pass under his authority and under his rule. In order to do that, we keep his commandments. We consider him our lawgiver and our judge. Shaphat means to set in place or to ordain. Isaiah 26:12. Yahweh, thou wilt ordain peace for us, for thou also hast wrought all our works in us. Psalm 22:15. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws, and thou hast brought me into the dust of death. This was something that was set in place and ordained by Yahweh. Shabbat, we know, is the seventh day, and it comes from the verb root, which means to cease or to rest. Genesis 2:2. On the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. Genesis 8:22. While the earth remaineth, seedtime and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. They shall not be ended. Exodus 12:15. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. The idea is that leaven must cease out of our house. We cannot have it in our house. Leviticus 26:6. And I will give you peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of your land, neither shall the sword go through your land. In other words, evil beasts will cease out of the land, because Yahweh will make it so. Ruth 4:14. And the women said unto Naomi, Blessed be Yahweh, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. In other words, the love and the honoring of the covenant that Yahweh has made with the house of Judah through Elimelech and Naomi, this has not ceased. He has not left them. In other words, he has brought forth a kinsman. He has continued the messianic line for them. That line has not ceased. Psalm 8:2. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger. In other words, still in the sense of make him quiet or cut him off. The enemy will be cut off, quieted in the face of Yahweh. So by an extended meaning, shavat as a verb means to observe a Sabbath. And we saw in the Parsha of Mishpatim, the laws for Sabbath are included in that Parsha. Leviticus 23:32. And it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day, on the month of the even, from even unto even, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. This is talking about Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, where we fast in order to fulfill the commandment of afflicting our souls. So we see it is a Sabbath as a verb to celebrate your Sabbath, and a Sabbath of rest as a noun. 2 Chronicles 36:21. To fulfill the word of Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 70 years. You remember the people were put out of the land because they had not observed a Sabbath for 490 years. And for the land, there was no Shemitah year, no year of where the people did not plant and let the land rest. And so Yahweh said, you owe me these 70 years of rest, and that is how the people went into exile for 70 years. What does the idea of judgments mean in our spiritual life? Yahweh is our judge, and he is our lawmaker. He has set in place for us rules how we should live, that we can have good relationships with each other and good relationships with Him, and included among these rules are keeping Sabbath. He will cause us to pass under His judgments, that we may be counted among those in covenant with Him. It is a sign that we are His people, that we keep the commandments, the testimonies, the laws, all these words that we have been talking about, that we walk according to these things. And these things are a sign that we are in covenant with Him. And indeed, Shabbat is one of His judgments. I'm sure there are many other ideas you can think of as you review these related roots. In the meantime, Tasimata Einayim al Hashamayim, keep your eye on the sky, your redemption draweth nigh. Shalom.